Hey guys, in this video we will be reviewing my trades for the day May 20th. One of my trades didn't really go very well, but I didn't give up and I really did my best to recover. And before we hop right into it, I want to give you guys a quick heads up that I'm working on doing live commentary instead. It's just that this morning I felt too tired to trade and talk through it. So if you guys do enjoy the video, please be sure to subscribe and hit the like button. So the first trade we're going to be looking at is the trade I took on SFET. I saw this morning on my pre-market scanner as one of the biggest gappers. I have a line drawn at 1.85, which was the pre-market high. So I was planning on entering the trade at 1.85, which is what I do right here. I get filled at 1.86. And then my plan for exit was to exit at the bottom of that candle, which is at 1.77. And my profit target would have been $2 roughly for a 14-cent profit. So it didn't really go and explode above the level that I had hoped, which I think is kind of expected now that I'm watching it now though, because even though there was volume to support it, it was already a bit extended and I didn't really have a great confirmation that it was going to break through it. I did have it touch my stop loss right there, but it didn't really break through it, so I decided to hold, because I did feel a little bit confident in this trade. So we're reapproaching the pre-market high and we're going to test it and see if we can break through it. The volume so far had been looking really good and I felt really great about this trade, that I would be able to make some good profit. So yeah, we're just testing that level right now, seeing if we're gonna be able to get through it, and we do. And we reach up to, 192, which isn't too far away from the $2 mark. I placed a limit order to sell at 1.96, which would have been very nice to have. But what ends up happening is that it has a pullback, and since I had the limit order out, I wasn't able to sell, because whenever I'm playing breakout plays, generally I like to sell on the first sign of a pullback. Because, when a stock is very overextended and there's a pullback, oftentimes it will actually pull back all the way to the moving averages. So at this point, I kind of felt like I was back holding, which isn't really correct, because I could have sold here for a break even or maybe even a little bit of profit. But I didn't like the idea of having been up, I think it was something like $60 and then going break even. So I'm just sitting here holding my shares stupidly as it's coming down on me. It breaks the 9 EMA, which is the black line I have drawn, and then I decided to give it a little bit of space and see if it will hold the 20 EMA or the VWAP. Which, on this candle, it actually breaks through, and I am forced to eat my loss, suffering a $110 loss, which is pretty significant given I started the day at $2,800. This is a $2,000 to $6,000 challenge. So yeah, that was a very significant loss. So I immediately go and try to rage trade by finding another stock that I can trade on. And here is CAL, and we will quickly do an evaluation of this trade. Alright guys, so now I'm going to be showing you my trade on CAL, but I'm going to be showing you it in the form of an image instead of video, because honestly I don't think it was very educational and I just want to get through it rather quickly. So the first thing I want to bring your attention to is the volume on the 5th and the 6th bars. The volume on the 5th bar looked really strong, and then the 6th bar was showing promise as the top of the candle broke through the pre-market high. I actually went and ordered when it was breaking the pre-market high, and I was filled with 500 shares at $7.04. I would have had my stop loss on this trade be at the close of this candle, and then I would have been aiming to take profits at $7.15, which is an arbitrary number. I just felt that it would have been a good target given the strength that I had saw during the trade. And then unfortunately the next two bars volume completely dried up, and it made the lowest volume of the day. And because of this, I no longer had interest in the trade, so I just exited the position with $10 profit. And I think that my decision to enter this trade was based, and if I had to do it again, I probably still would have entered. I just think it was rather unfortunate that the volume did dry up the way it did, and then not really recover for the rest of the day. So the next stock I traded was CCL, which had been downtrending for most of the day. I had the stock open on my second monitor and I saw it approaching a level of resistance I had drawn in the pre-market. I really like this setup because it has ascending volume on the 1 minute chart, and right here, just as it crosses the level that I had drawn, I place an order, I market order to buy, and it's really going up quite quickly right now. It's a breakout, and I don't have a profit target in mind. So my current plan is to sell on the first pullback. So if the stock falls below the price that it opened on this candle or any other candle, I would be looking to sell. And right here, it does end up crossing and I sell, but unfortunately I got filled towards the bottom of that candle, so I lost out on a bit of profit. The only thing I would have changed about this trade is the share size. I had 500 set for my trade on Cal, but the stock, the price of the stock, I would have normally taken 2,000 shares. And if I had my normal position size, then this profit would have been $110. The next trade I took was on RIOT, which was approaching the high of day. I decided to buy at this level, which filled me at 2.71, and when it tested 2.75 and failed, I decided to exit the position. It was a dud, but had the potential to be a winner. I ended up leaving Riot behind $10 richer. Alright guys, once again, I am looking to trade CCCL, and this time I'm looking at an entry at $1.30. I'm looking at the ask right now, waiting for it to break through $1.30, and then right here with a very quick breakout, I'm late on the entry and I get filled at $1.34. And it's still going up, but it looks like it's not able to hold its momentum. It has a pullback right here, but just above my stop loss, so I remain in the trade, and then it comes back up again and approaches the $1.34 mark, which is where it will be looking to create a new high of the day. And there it goes, it breaks through the $1.34, creating the new high of the day. And I'm currently thinking that I'd like to try to get to $1.50 for profit taking, but if we do experience a pullback, I'll have to exit my position. And I guess the point where I would exit the position with a pullback is the bottom of that green candle that we are currently on. Then right here, we have a quick pullback, and I do exit the position even though we did not hit the bottom of the green bar. And the reason why I did that is because the high of the day previously was at $1.34, and when we crossed that point, I figured that a lot of people would be selling off, and I was afraid that it would become like a big loss. And I was happy to exit the position there because it was pretty much break even. I actually made a little bit of profit, but it was pretty negligible. And at this point, I was reevaluating the stock because I still thought there was hope on making profit. And this time I was looking at a potential entry at $1.50, which was the pre-market high. So this time I'm waiting patiently to see if I can buy in at the break of the pre-market high. And right here, it is having a lot of selling pressure, but there are buyers eating the sellers. So I still felt very bullish on the stock despite lower volume on the last two candles. You can see even every time the candle is inching down, the buyers are bringing it right back up. And then right here, the candle turns green, and then it breaks up to the $1.50 where I enter a position at $1.51. And then look at the bid and the ask. Huge bid sizes right there. Very large bid sizes. And then right here, we enter a volatility halt, which is kind of good for me because a lot of times whenever you go into a halt, it will continue the direction that it was halted in. And I just cut right here to the end of the halt so you guys can see what happened without having to wait the full 5 minutes. And immediately it gaps up and then continues running. So we're currently up $165 on this trade. It does pull down a little bit, but there's too many buyers. So I take a little bit of profit right here, take a little bit of money off the table so I can stay positive for the day because, you know, I was negative before. And right here, I'm just looking to maximize the potential of my last 500 shares. My current plan was again just to sell at the bottom of the green, or the bottom of the candle we were at. So right here, I would move my stop loss up to the bottom of the new candle that just formed. So in times like these, a profit target could actually be pretty useful, but because I didn't have one, I was just using the bottom or the open of the last candle as my stop loss. as like a trailing stop loss. And right here, it does turn red. And the second it does, I click sell market, but I end up getting filled towards the bottom of that candle. So I gave back a lot of profit right there, ending the day with this stock CCCL at 135. And I think that my biggest regret with this was that I didn't just sell the like as soon as I saw that candle start pulling down, because I knew it was gonna rip. It was so overextended that the second I did see that pullback, I had to have known it was going to rip down like that. So that is what I would change in the future. So what you're looking at now is a position summary up until this point, and you can see that I was down 110 on SFET, and then I was up 10 on CAL and up 10 on Riot, and then finally I was up 135 on CCCL, meaning that I was up in total $45 for the day. And I posted this in my Discord, by the way. The link is in the description, and I welcome you to join. But I was questioning to myself in the Discord whether or not I should continue and try to make another trade, or if I should call it quits here because I turned a red day into a green day. And I ended up deciding that I would take a look at my scanner, and if I saw something, then I would make a trade on it. So here I am using my stock scanner, and I am currently filtering the search results to show me the stocks with the most volume in the last 5 minutes, and almost immediately, ATOS sticks out to me because it has a low float of 9 million shares and over 2 million shares of volume traded today. And I'm hovering over the buy market because I see that there could be a potential break over 241 where I'd be looking to take profit right here, which would be, you know, about a 8 to 9 cents profit, which would be pretty nice. But when I see that it doesn't happen, I decide to go and just draw my price target so I can have a better visual indicator for where I want to be buying. And right here, I was just looking at the price ladder, looking at the ask size and the bid size. So I've just cut 2 minutes ahead, and what you're looking at is a cup and handle pattern, which I noticed whenever I was trading. So I felt really confident about this play, and my goal, you know, was to buy in where I drew that price level. And right here you can see that we are actually testing it, and the second that we go through, I place my market order and I get filled at 242. So my current idea is that I would be willing to risk until to the bottom of that candle, so that is a 3-cent risk. And then as I mentioned earlier, my price target is right there at 250, so I would be risking 3 cents to make 8 cents, which is almost a 3-to-1 profit to or risk to reward ratio. So I'm just watching my level 2, and I'm looking at the ask, and the second I saw it hit 250, I joined the ask, where you can see my limit order was just sitting, and you know, it got filled, and I sold half of my shares. So with the remainder of the 500 shares that I had left, I was looking to see if we would be able to make it to the high of the day. And as we were approaching it, my idea was to sell at the first pullback. So the first time the candle goes below where it opened. And you could, you know, a minute ago, or not a minute ago, but you know, a couple seconds ago, you saw that the candle actually turned gray, but it didn't go red. So I actually held on to my shares and was waiting for us to hit the 263 mark, which is the high of the day, where I would be looking to sell, like, you know, a little over half of my shares. So I see it hits 263 on the ask, so I join the ask, and I do get filled at 263, and I'm holding the last 200 shares to see if we'll be able to, you know, create a new high of the day. My goal was just to be able to maximize the profit on these last 200 shares. So I was going to be like pretty flexible. You can see that right there, I hovered over the bottom of that candle, which was at 251, and I placed a limit order to sell at the bottom of it. And that candle right there did come down. It pulled down and was red, but it immediately went back up and was testing. I didn't even test, it just went through and created a new high of the day. But I wasn't interested in selling just for a few more pennies. I was hoping to get to, you know, almost $3. I think in my mind I was hoping to get to $3, but I probably would have been looking to actually just sell at like $2.75 or something. But I also was looking to sell on a pullback at this point because I see that it's losing its like steam, losing its momentum, and it's pulling back right now. So I cancel my order and I'm hovering over the sell. The second it turns red, I'm looking to sell, and right there it turns red. I sell the rest of my shares at 251. And I think that this was a really, really well executed trade. You can see I was only risking 3 cents when I initially bought in, and I managed to capture 8 cents profit on 500 shares with my initial profit taking, and then my second profit taking was 21 cents for 300 shares, and then I don't know what the last one was, but overall a very good trade, and I don't think I would have changed anything about it. Alright guys, that concludes this video and my trades for the day of May 20th. I finished the day $184 in the green, which is really good considering after the very first trade I was down $110. I think that the main lesson to be learned from this video is that whenever you're playing a breakout trade, you need to be able to be ready to sell on the first pullback, because that is why I lost in my first trade, is I was not prepared to sell the second I saw the pullback, and thus I was left bag holding where I ended up losing $110, which didn't have to happen.